if you thought part 1 was beautiful, just wait until you see what's waiting in today's Easter home decor tour. In this second chapter, we're stepping deeper into the heart of spring styling with even more vintage cottagecore decor, Easter decorating ideas 2026, gingham accents, floral home styling, and those charming little details that make a home feel truly magical. Today's video is all about softness, warmth, personality, and creating a peaceful atmosphere that feels like spring wrapped in nostalgia. So settle in, get cozy, and let this be your sign to romanticize your home this Easter season. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below to tell me which room inspires you most today. Let's begin with one of the most eye-catching places in the home, the mantle. In part 2, I wanted this space to feel layered, airy, and beautifully collected, like something you'd discover in a charming English cottage on Easter morning. Think vintage brass candlesticks, soft pastel taper candles, framed floral prints, and a delicate garland draped naturally across the top. I've also mixed in ceramic bunnies, a few speckled decorative eggs, and fresh spring greenery to create movement and softness. One of the biggest 2026 spring decor directions is this collected, nostalgic, handcrafted look, especially with lighter layers, heritage florals, and warm natural textures. The beauty of a mantle like this is that it instantly anchors the room and gives your Easter home decor a romantic focal point without feeling overdone. Now let's move to the table, because no Easter home decor tour feels complete without a dreamy spring table cape. For this look, I wanted something that felt both elegant and lived in, using layers that are soft and welcoming rather than too formal. I styled the table with a floral table runner, vintage-inspired plates, woven placemats, and subtle Easter details like ribbon-tied napkins and tiny egg accents. To keep everything cohesive, I leaned into a palette of blush, cream, sage, and pale yellow colors that are defining spring 2026 decorating. Soft pastels and natural textures continue to dominate Easter styling this year, especially when paired with woven elements and floral centerpieces. This kind of setup doesn't just decorate a table, it creates a feeling, a memory, and the kind of visual warmth that makes guests want to linger a little longer. my favorite ways to make Easter decor feel extra special is by bringing out those vintage dishes, floral china, and heirloom-inspired pieces that instantly add soul to a space. There's just something so timeless about layering delicate plates, soft glassware, and charming serving pieces that makes a spring table feel more personal and elevated. Instead of matching everything perfectly, I love mixing subtle floral patterns with classic neutrals to create that effortless cottagecore charm. Designers are leaning heavily into nostalgic, grand millennial, and heritage styling in 2026, especially through layered patterns, heirloom tableware, and sentimental pieces that tell a story. If you have pretty dishes tucked away in a cabinet, this is your reminder to use them. Easter is the perfect excuse to make everyday beauty feel part of your home. Nothing transforms a home faster than flowers, and for this part of the tour, florals are absolutely the star. I used a mix of tulips, daisies, soft roses, and delicate spring stems arranged in ceramic pitchers and vintage vases to create that effortless cottage garden look indoors. Florals are especially powerful in Easter decorating because they instantly soften a room, brighten the palette, and bring the entire home to life. Heritage-inspired florals and layered botanical patterns are especially prominent in spring 2026 interiors, especially when mixed with gingham, stripes, or subtle pattern layering. The secret is to make your arrangements feel gathered and natural, not stiff or overly perfect. A loose bouquet on a table or tucked onto a shelf can completely shift the mood of a room and make it feel beautifully in season. If there's one pattern that quietly steals the show in this home tour, it has to be gingham. There's something so timeless and cheerful about it, especially when paired with florals and vintage textures. In this part of the house, I've added gingham through pillow covers, table linens, bows, and even small decorative details that give the decor that soft, picnic-inspired cottagecore energy. Designers and trend watchers are calling out gingham as a standout spring look again, especially beyond children's spaces and into living rooms, bedrooms, and layered styling moments. What I love most is that gingham feels playful without being childish. It adds pattern in a way that feels cozy, classic, and approachable, and honestly, it might be one of the easiest ways to make your Easter decor feel instantly fresh and current. most beautiful Easter home decor moments aren't the big statement pieces, they're the quiet little corners. That's why I love styling shelves, hutches, and sideboards with a thoughtful mix of vintage books, small floral arrangements, candlesticks, ceramic rabbits, and collected spring accents. These are the spots where personality really comes through. Instead of decorating in a way that feels crowded, I focus on layering height, texture, and softness so the shelves feel curated and calm. That fewer but more meaningful styling approach lines up perfectly with what's trending for spring 2026. Lighter, more personal spaces filled with warmth and natural character. It's proof that you don't need a full room makeover to make your home feel magical. Sometimes one beautifully styled shelf says everything. Let's talk about the kitchen, because this is one of my favorite places to add small but meaningful Easter touches. In part 2, I styled this space with floral tea towels, wooden cutting boards, ceramic pitchers, woven baskets, and soft seasonal details like mini egg bowls and fresh flowers near the sink. These kinds of accents don't interrupt the function of the kitchen, they just make it feel warmer and more loved. One of the strongest spring decorating themes right now is the idea of micro-refreshes rather than full renovations, small styling changes that create a big emotional shift. And honestly, that's exactly what I want this video to inspire. You don't need to buy everything new. Sometimes all it takes is a floral towel, a candle, and a bowl of tulips to make the kitchen feel like spring. Now we're stepping into a softer, more restful side of Easter decorating with the bedroom. I wanted this room to feel like a true spring retreat, so I used floral bedding, lightweight quilts, gingham pillows, and soft pastel details to make the whole space feel airy and peaceful. A small vase of flowers on the nightstand, a candle by the bed, and 1 or 2 subtle Easter accents are all it takes to shift the mood. Breathable textiles like linen and cotton, floral prints, and lighter layering are all central to Cottagecore spring styling right now. This room is a reminder that Easter decor doesn't have to stop at the public spaces of the home. Bringing spring into your bedroom can completely transform how your home feels, more comforting, more beautiful, and a little more intentional every single day. smallest spaces deserve a little Easter magic, and the bathroom is such an underrated place to add charm. For this area, I focused on simple styling: fresh flowers, folded floral hand towels, a tiny ceramic bunny, and soft candlelight to create a clean but cozy spring feeling. The beauty of decorating a bathroom is that even one or two details can make a huge impact. A vintage tray, a woven basket, or a pastel soap dish can instantly elevate the space and tie it into the rest of your Easter home decor. Small spring refreshes and personality-driven styling are a major part of 2026 decor trends, especially in overlooked corners of the home. These tiny spaces may not always get the spotlight, but when styled thoughtfully, they can feel just as enchanting as the main rooms. Most meaningful parts of this year's Easter home styling is the handmade touch. Whether it's a ribbon-tied wreath, a simple basket arrangement, hand-styled eggs, or a DIY floral piece, these small homemade details add a kind of warmth that store-bought decor just can't replicate. Cottagecore has always celebrated a slower, more intentional lifestyle, one that values craftsmanship, nostalgia, and beauty in the everyday. That handmade and artisanal spirit continues to define the aesthetic in 2026, especially through one-of-a-kind decor and collected personal touches. So if you've been wanting to try a simple Easter DIY, this is your sign. Sometimes the pieces we make ourselves become the most treasured parts of our seasonal decor. This part of the tour is all about texture, because texture is what makes a home feel alive. I've incorporated woven baskets, floral wreaths, moss accents, wooden elements, and soft natural fibers throughout the home to keep everything grounded and organic. These details are especially important when you're styling a cottagecore-inspired Easter home, because they keep the decor from feeling too polished or artificial. Natural materials like wicker, rattan, seagrass, and botanical textures are a major design direction for spring 2026, and they pair beautifully with soft Easter pastels and florals. This is what gives the house that fresh from the garden feeling, like spring is gently unfolding in every room, one beautiful texture at a time. thing I've really embraced in this Easter decor season is creating little cozy corners that invite you to slow down and stay a while. A chair with a floral cushion, a gingham throw, a tiny side table with a candle and a book. These details create a mood that goes beyond decorating. They create comfort. And that idea of comfort is one of the biggest home trends right now. Pinterest's 2026 Spring Trend Insights point to cozy, personalized spaces like reading nooks and soulful corners as part of the wider move away from cold, overly minimal interiors. So when you decorate for Easter, don't just think about what looks pretty on camera, think about how you want your home to feel. That's where the magic really begins. If you've ever been nervous about mixing patterns, let this be your Easter permission slip to try it. One of the most charming parts of cottagecore styling is the way it embraces florals with florals, gingham with lace, or even botanicals with stripes, as long as the color palette stays soft and intentional. In this home, I've layered those patterns gently across pillows, runners, bedding, and tiny accents to keep everything feeling rich but not chaotic. Pattern layering is being embraced more confidently this spring, especially with heritage florals and traditionally rooted prints. The key is balance. Keep one pattern dominant, let the others support it, and always include some solids and natural textures to give the eye a place to rest. Sometimes the most beautiful part of home decor isn't the decor itself, it's the atmosphere it creates. For this Easter home tour, I've leaned heavily into natural light, soft candlelight, and airy window styling to make each room feel calm, glowy, and full of spring warmth. Sheer curtains, floral shadows, reflective glass, and soft flickering candles all help create that dreamy cottagecore mood. Natural light, lighter fabrics, and a connection to the outdoors are all key elements of spring cottagecore styling, especially in 2020 SIXS softer, more intentional interiors. This is your reminder that a beautiful home isn't always about buying more. It's often about styling what you already have in a way that feels gentle, meaningful, and full of light. There's a reason vintage cottage or home decor continues to resonate so deeply, especially in seasons like Easter and spring. In a world that moves fast, this style invites us to slow down. It celebrates old things, handmade things, sentimental things, and spaces that feel lived in rather than perfect. That emotional, story-rich quality is exactly why Cottagecore remains so beloved. Spring 2026 design coverage continues to highlight nostalgic textures, softer palettes, natural materials, and personality-filled interiors over sterile minimalism. And I think that's why this aesthetic works so beautifully for Easter. It doesn't just decorate a home for a holiday, it creates a sanctuary, a memory, and a feeling of peace you can actually live inside. Before we wrap up this cozy spring tour, I would love to know which part of today's Easter home decor inspired you the most. Was it the gingham styling, the vintage china, the floral centerpieces, the mantle, or maybe those tiny shelf details that make a space feel collected and special? Tell me in the comments, because I genuinely love hearing how you decorate for spring in your own home. And if this video gave you inspiration, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who loves cottage or decor, Easter decorating ideas, and all things spring home styling. Your support means so much and helps this cozy little decorating community keep blooming beautifully. As we come to the end of part 2, I hope this Easter home decor tour left you feeling inspired to bring a little more softness, beauty, and personality into your own home this season. Whether it's through florals, gingham, vintage treasures, candles, baskets, or simply styling your favorite corner with intention, spring decorating is really about creating a home that feels joyful and welcoming. And that's what I love most about this vintage cottage or Easter style. It's not about perfection. It's about comfort, charm, and making everyday spaces feel a little more magical. Thank you so much for spending this cozy time with me today, and I'll see you in the next beautiful spring decorating video.